Okay, so what if you had literally no arms and no legs? I really want you to take a second and genuinely imagine a reality where you cannot walk, write, or hold anything, or anyone. If you were born that way, do you think happiness is even possible? Most people would instantly say, well, absolutely not. But today, we're going to see exactly why that assumption is completely wrong.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking some truly awe-inspiring source material that details the extraordinary life of Nick Vujicic. This is the story of a guy who definitively proves that limitations, they're nothing more than mental barriers. His life motto is, no arms, no legs, no limits. Meaning, if he doesn't have limbs, well then he doesn't have boundaries either. It's just a staggering mindset, and we're going to break it all down step by step.
All right, let's jump right into the very beginning of this story.
Picture this. It's 1982, inside a hospital in Melbourne, Australia. The pregnancy was completely normal. No drugs, no painkillers, absolutely no complications. But it ended in an unimaginable shock that literally silenced everyone in the delivery room. Doctors discovered that Nick was born with tetra-amelia syndrome. Now, this is an incredibly rare congenital disorder characterized by the complete absence of all four limbs. Instead of arms and legs, Nick was born with just a torso and a very small foot-like appendage. It was a total medical mystery, a sudden, unpredictable event that no one could have ever prepared for.
And the immediate aftermath in that room was just absolute devastation. Doctors literally screamed in shock. Nurses backed away in fear because they'd never seen anything like it. His own father actually ran out of the room and vomited from the sheer trauma of it all. And his mother, who had nurtured him for 9 months, she was so devastated she couldn't even bring herself to hold him for the first 4 months of his life. The shock was just absolute.
So, as you might guess, things got incredibly dark from there.
Once Nick actually started school, the physical absence of his limbs was quickly matched by this crushing emotional weight. I mean, he was constantly bullied, mocked, and even called an alien by kids who just didn't understand. Day after day, a broken, totally innocent Nick would go home and ask his mom this heartbreaking question, why did God make me like this? And the most painful part? Absolutely nobody had an answer. Not his parents, not the doctors, nobody.
All of this trauma really peaked when Nick was just 8 years old. 8. In absolute despair, he went to his bathtub, actually planning to drown himself. But right in that moment, a vision hit him. He suddenly thought about the immense, crushing grief his death would cause his parents. And that right there, that was the turning point. He abandoned his plan in order to find his purpose. The thought of hurting his parents forced him to choose life. And it really sparked this realization that maybe, just maybe, he was kept alive for a greater reason.
Now, before we look at how Nick completely transformed his destiny, the source material actually pivots here for a highly practical reality check.
See, just like Nick's birth was this totally unpredictable shock to a perfectly healthy pregnancy, medical emergencies strike completely without warning. A healthy lifestyle is fantastic, eat right, exercise, but it guarantees absolutely nothing against random accidents or sudden illnesses. Health insurance is the true middle-class life jacket. It's not some luxury. It's an absolute necessity, so a single hospital bill doesn't just completely wipe out your life savings.
Furthermore, the source really drives home the absolute necessity of protecting your family's future with term insurance. If the unthinkable happens, this prevents total financial ruin during a sudden tragedy, providing crores or millions in coverage for your loved ones. Plus, buying these policies online often gets you a 15 to 25% discount. It basically ensures that in your absence, your family won't have to face crushing financial ruin right on top of their grief.
And the craziest part? The source points out that for as little as 400 rupees a month, which is literally the cost of a few cups of coffee, you can secure massive protection for your family. It's this brilliant, excuse-busting reality check right in the middle of our story. We can't always control what happens to us, just like Nick couldn't control how he was born. But we can absolutely control how we prepare and respond.
Okay, let's bring this all back to Nick's story and see exactly how he became an unstoppable force.
So after stepping back from the brink, Nick made this radical decision to just write his own destiny. If he wasn't given hands, well, he was going to use the very limited physical tools he actually had. At just 17, he delivered his first tear-jerking motivational speech at the exact same school where he used to be bullied, leaving the students and teachers weeping. By 21, he didn't just graduate, he earned double degrees in commerce and financial planning, conquering these highly complex accounting subjects using only his toes. Jump to 2010, and he even won Best Actor at an independent film festival for his role in The Butterfly Circus. He took all of his pain and systematically turned it into power.
And today,
The guy is an absolute global icon. He completely defied the odds to become one of the world's highest-paid motivational speakers. He's authored massive bestsellers like Life Without Limits and Unstoppable, which have been translated into over 30 languages. Actually, just in 2024, he addressed a staggering crowd of 100,000 people in Visakhapatnam, India. But perhaps the most beautiful part is that the man who once thought he would never, ever be loved is now a happily married husband and a father to 4 children.
But to truly grasp his sheer willpower, you don't even need to look at the massive stadiums. Just look at his solo morning routine. He brushes his own teeth, shaves his own face, and combs his own hair. He relies on absolutely no one to get ready for his day. I mean, think about the mechanics of doing that with just a small foot appendage, your chin, and your shoulders. It is a literal masterclass in resilience.
Get this, using just the toes on his small foot appendage, the exact same toes you might use to simply stand up, Nick types at an astonishing 43 words per minute on a computer. There are people with 10 fully functioning fingers who don't even type that fast.
And talk about global impact. Despite having absolutely no feet to walk on, Nick has visited more than 70 countries. He's left this massive, indelible footprint across the globe, inspiring millions of people in person. If you get a visa to 5 countries, you probably feel pretty well traveled, right? But Nick has quite literally conquered the world.
Well, wait, it gets even more unbelievable. The guy even plays golf. How? By figuring out a way to hold the golf club securely in his jaw to take his swing. It perfectly demonstrates that while his body is restricted, his mind is entirely beautifully free of limitations. He figures out a way to do whatever he wants to do. Which brings us to the final part of our explainer today, and honestly, the most important part for us.
The source material basically demands that we hold Nick's extraordinary life up as a mirror. Contrast Nick's reality, no hands, no legs, yet a global icon, with your reality. You have eyes to dream, hands to work, and feet to walk to your destination. When you contrast a man who conquered the world without limbs against your fully capable body, your excuses immediately lose all their power. If you're sitting around complaining about minor inconveniences today, consider this explainer a loud wake-up call to throw that list of complaints right in the trash.
And that brings us to what might be Nick's most powerful quote ever. If you can't get a miracle, become one. True disability isn't the lack of a physical limb, it's a defeated mind. If you are waiting for some magical solution to your problems and it just isn't arriving, you have to take the pieces you do have and build the miracle yourself. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative question to ponder. What will you do with your fully capable body today? You are equipped with literally everything you need to succeed. How will you destroy your own excuses and step into your full potential right now? Take that thought with you, apply it, and never let mental limitations hold you back again.